now. There's reasons I'm asking this.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep it real 100, right? I would say that it's very possible. I wouldn't say I necessarily believe in it. I've been told plenty of times by my own family and even other guys that I'm like the guy's girl. Like I can kick it with the guys and I can kick it with the girls. So it depends of I would say it would have to be depending upon the personality in the individual to denote if that's a double thing because I don't think that it's widely possible. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Uh,
Mr. Alex?
my turn.
Go
Yes.
ahead, go ahead.
Well, hey, hey. First off, how y'all doing?
I'm so
Uh,
happy for you, Mr. Alex.
I can't,
Yay.
I smile a lot. I got a lot to smile about.
Okay.
You know,
Absolutely.
abundantly blessed, and let me say for all the women in here that are mothers, y'all are heroes. Y'all are extreme heroes, and I mean, at the end of the day, I cannot take that away from women and their ability to give birth to whole people. And I never
Hmm.
experienced that before. Y'all are supreme heroes, and just gotta been on been on an extreme emotional roller coaster for the last 48 hours, and I won't go off topic.
For those who don't know, just to kind of give y'all why he's kind of in this euphoric state, because you might not catch him like this too often. His son was just born.
I don't, I
Oh,
won't go off topic.
congratulations. Look at you.
Like,
Big emotional baby.
uh, but I don't think that I don't think women can ever be masculine. I think women can be assertive. I think women can be proud. I think women can be in their own right independent. But masculine, a woman could never be, because a woman can never be born as a man. We all know that chemicals are balanced in both men and women. Testosterone and estrogen runs within both of us, but that doesn't equate to masculinity.
I'm gonna let you have that
Uh,
one because the testosterone can be a little off in women, and that's scientifically
Take
I
proven, and that can create a little bit
understand that,
with them. So I'm gonna let you have that one.
but masculinity is not equivalent to testosterone, nor is it equivalent femininity
It
equivalent
was.
to estrogen. You know, they're not. But digress from that. To answer the question that was asked is women go through stages in life to where they have to be self-sufficient, where they have to rely on themselves in order to find themselves, in order to find their own self-worth. They go through that.
Mhm.
The reason why that man said that masculinity can thrive in independence because for a man, you have to be within a space to where you cannot rely on anybody but yourself. You have to be self-sufficient in order to prove to yourself that you can provide for not only yourself but what you create and what you take on as a man. Women seldomly they don't have to do that because there's always a man willing to provide for a woman, no matter what she looks like, no matter
Where?
the situation. And
Where you live at?
there is a man out there that only wants to be and have a family, that wants to be loved and appreciated just as much as a woman wants to be loved and appreciated.
So Alex, let me
You
ask
might not
you.
be.
that I agree with.
Let me
That
ask
I
you.
agree with.
Statistically speaking, let's deal with numbers. What's the numbers on that?
The numbers are low.
Girlfriends.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that the numbers are low, and that's why and a lot of women are in denial when it comes to that shit. Those men that want those things are in the minority, not the majority. And you have to set yourself apart as a woman to be, or even be, you know what I'm saying? And even if you set yourself apart, you might not be attracted to that type of man
Mm-hmm. And that's
because
another
he
thing.
he moves differently than the person that you are typically attracted to. So you have to get outside of your comfort zone in order to have that type of man in your life
Correct.
that actually values family over just the person that you are. He
Yep.
wants the family.
He
The
usually
family,
is.
the family to him is the prize. Not so much the woman. The woman is a plus. The cooking is a plus. The sex is a plus. The woman being feminine is a plus. The family is what that man is truly seeking in his life. That sense of purpose and knowing that he is appreciated and valued within that structure and being.
Mm-hmm. You spot on.
And a lot of women don't understand that. You say you're looking for a good man, fine. It it's it's not so much of a good man because that whole thing, and I've seen women, well, your definition of good might not be the same thing as somebody else's definition of good. Well, values are always pretty straightforward. If that man values family, you can say that he's good or bad, but he still values family.
Mm-hmm.
His values are based in family. So he is going to make sure that his family is always taken care of, provided for, and he won't risk anything that takes his family away from him
Mm-hmm.
because that's where his peace resides. So when women are talking about good men and men are talking about good men, in essence, the deeper conversation is a man of values, and just like we say women of virtue, a man of virtue. Man not only values himself, that values family and the woman that he chooses to build that family with. Those men are in short supply. That is
That's
just like
very
those
true.
women that want to be in those situations are in short supply. Because in order to be that type of man or to be that type of woman, self doesn't matter. It's about the family, not about self. So you're looking for a selfless person, not a selfish person.
There you go. But you also have to position yourself to be able to be in the place to accept both from the male side, accepting a woman who is like that, and from the woman's side, accepting a man who is like that. If we're talking about this masculine versus feminine thing, most men who are like what you're speaking of, they don't like masculine, aggressive women. They don't want that.
No, because it doesn't
Because
because
it doesn't
because
exist to
the
begin with.
aggressive an aggressive person and an overly aggressive person, because everybody's aggressive within their own right. Everybody's a narcissist within their own right,
Yep.
whether they want to admit it or not. Everybody is a narcissist within their own self construct. They are. You have to be. In order to love yourself, you have to be a tad bit narcissist. You have to be. So, like, saying that a woman is masculine is bullshit to me because you're not a man. You don't have to do the shit and have to put up with shit that a man has to put up with. A man does not have to put up with the shit that a woman has to put up with. We live in two different worlds within the same universe.
Okay, so then what would you say for the men who feel like they're more in touch with their feminine side? What would you call that? If
There's
you
no
say a woman,
man. All of
I'm asking.
those are just talking points.
Okay.
You're not. I'm as a man. I'm not in touch with my fucking feminine side. I just know myself. Don't mean I'm fucking feminine. Doesn't mean a woman's masculine. You just know who the hell you are.
Okay.
And
Knowing
by
yourself
definition,
doesn't, putting yourself in a box of saying that because I'm emotionally intelligent, that means I'm in touch with my feminine side is bullshit.
I
That's a
wouldn't say
feminist
that.
talking
I
point.
was just asking you how you feel when you hear
I'm
people say that.
telling you. I'm just telling you. I hear it. I hear bullshit. The only thing you're telling me is that you're not full of shit and you can have an adult conversation without blaming or putting
I
somebody
can
else in
see
a
that.
box. doing any of that other shit. That's it. It's nothing more than that. It doesn't mean that you're better than anybody else. All it means is you can have an adult conversation without trying to make somebody else fit into your box. You can just have a conversation with somebody that has a different view from what you normally have.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't like the feminists that try and tell me what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. You can feel and be however you want to be as a feminist. Don't try and push your views off on me and tell me that I have to be this way as a man based off of what you believe, because I'm not going to tell you what you have to be as a woman. You
That's
can
the
do
same
whatever the
vice
hell you
versa.
want.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. But that's not how the conversation normally goes.
Not ever. We know that.
Yeah, not ever. The conversation doesn't go like that because no, you're wrong, you're this, you're that, you're this, patriarchy, this, all of this shit. Woman, I don't care about any of that shit. No man is going around raising their children talking about you have to fit inside of the patriarchy as a man and put these women under heel. Nobody's doing that shit. Especially not no black men anyway. We have there is no elitist attitude in raising black men.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
There's
want to say
not.
this. I want to say this. So before I decided to bring this topic up, I knew that these terms were going to be brought up, so I decided to look them up for us, thanks to Dr. Google.
Okay, what we got?
All right. So what? So Kat mentioned something that you are. She believes that you are born with either masculine or feminine. What traits? Is that what you're referring to, Kat? Because according to Dr. Google, masculinity is a social expectation of men. It refers to the roles, behaviors, and attributes that are considered appropriate for boys and men in a given society. It is not biologically driven. It is socially, historically, and politically driven. Those three. And vice versa for femininity. So, in knowing that it's not biologically driven, so we can take away the hormone part of it, right? Because that holds no weight in what we're talking about right now, right?
Correct.
According to, according to what I'm talking about. Now, according to that, the social, historically, and political side. We can't hear you, Mr. Alex.
We can't hear you, baby.
Mr. Alex, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. So, in knowing that, right? All those sides of like those three sides, how could it how could those three factors, the social, the historical, and the political side, push one to be feel like, not that they are, just feel like they're more masculine or more feminine versus the other?
Alex, what you got?
All right. So this is the thing, right? Google just started existing in the last
I
15
said Dr.
years. All right, I'm just saying, in the last 15 years, Google just started existing. In this new wave and generation of people, they can reshape and redefine historical definitions based on their own feelings. That definition is based off of feelings, not facts. You can't really say that masculinity is not associated with a gender because it is.
But I did say that it is, but it's not in society. It's not biologically driven. It is
Okay,
the
so
other three
that
things driven.
again, if you look at that definition and break that and write it out
I
and look
did.
at how they have to and look at how they have to put society into it. They have to include and introduce a new perspective into the definition in order to make sense within the construct of the definition that they're trying to bring to terms.
Okay, so let me
I
ask
get
you
where
this.
he
You're
coming
referring
from.
to, I understand what you're saying. Yes, yes. Again, that's why I preface it by saying Dr. Google, right? But if you look at it from this perspective, when you go to your doctor, when a man goes to see a urologist, for example, and they do testosterone level checks, they're not going to say, based on that level check, if it's low, they're going to say your testosterone's low. We need to bring it up because it's affecting your masculinity. They're not going to say that.
No,
So that's what
they're
I'm
not.
saying. Like that's what they mean by the
So
biological
this
factor. Because
so
at the
this
very
is
beginning
so
of the
wait. So this is why it doesn't so this is why that argument makes no sense. If that's the case, then why aren't they testing you for your level of estrogen?
they do test us. They
No, they do
absolutely
not.
test it.
They don't
They
test men for
absolutely
they do not test men for their levels of estrogen. Even though that they exist inside of a man, they do not test men for their levels of estrogen.
Yes, they do.
They don't.
When you have if
No,
you
they
have
do
any
not.
type of hormonal imbalance, they're going to check all
No,
that.
I am just telling you right now, in 41 years
I know that to stop.
of being in doctors' offices and being in the military, no one ever said, "Hey, your estrogen levels are pretty high, guy," or "They're pretty low," or "You're." They, they only speak to testosterone levels in conversations with men. When you
Yes,
have a conversation with a woman, they speak on your estrogen levels in means of reproduction more so than anything else.
They check my
Because
testosterone
that's what
and my
it's
estrogen because my hormonal imbalance and PCOS has went crazy. So they do check that in women as well
okay.
as they check it in men.
but generally, I
I
get
You
am
what he's
just
telling you
saying.
right
haven't
I
gone
now,
get what
through
he's
it.
saying.
You just haven't
I
gone
get what
through
they
he's saying.
don't
Generally,
have they don't have that conversation with men.
it. You
yeah,
haven't
generally they
gone
don't.
through it.
Unless well, this is what I'm saying. Unless you fall into that medical piece, which would be a minority of men that have hormonal imbalances, then they have that conversation with you because it's needed.
Exactly.
But 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 the majority of men that go to the hospital, they only are checking for your levels of testosterone. They don't talk about masculinity because masculinity has nothing to do with medical practice.
That's what
That's
I'm
what she was
saying.
saying.
It's not. That's what I'm
Okay, so
saying.
we're on the same page. We're on the same page. It has nothing to do with it. But but let me say this. Let me say this. And going back to your question or whatever, women being alone or in a certain situation for a long time does not make them masculine. It just means that they are operating within their own self-sufficiency. Doesn't mean that they're men. Saying that you are operating in your masculine means you're acting like a man. And saying that you being responsible, you taking care of your business is manly like and not woman like. That is a degrading statement. And every time I hear women say it, it's like it's kind of like an oxymoron, right? I have to operate in my masculine in order to be responsible. Do you see what I'm saying?
That's not what I
Yeah.
hear. That's what you hear.
But
No,
I
no, no.
understand what
Look,
he's saying.
listen,
I
listen,
understand what he's saying on that note.
listen.
Okay, I'm gonna
Why
listen
can't
and
you
then I'm gonna say
operate in
something.
your feminine? Why can't you operate in your feminine and still do the same things as a man does when you're saying that you're being responsible, productive, self-sufficient, and everything else? It's degrading to a woman to say she's being or operating in her masculine or having to be masculine and equating it to success. It's
Yeah.
But
degrading
see,
to a
okay,
woman.
but
And
see,
this is
that's
coming
not
from a
the
man
way.
telling you
And
that. That makes no sense.
okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, I get what you're saying, and I know that it sounds degrading, but when women start to say that, they start to say that not because they think that what they're doing is so masculine. They start to say that because they're doing the man's job in the relationship. They're doing what the man should be doing.
Exactly.
So they feel
Exactly.
like
And that's
I
what I
shouldn't be
am
doing the
saying.
man's job.
That's what I'm saying. You are right. But when you sit up here and say because you are doing a man's job that you're operating in your masculine instead of being a woman that's responsible, it's
That's not what they're
degrading of
saying.
women.
See, you just tried to say,
Uh,
It
listen to what
you
you're saying.
Wait a
I'm
minute.
not.
Listen, hold
Wait
on,
a
hold on,
wait
hold
a
on,
minute. Wait a
hold on,
minute.
hold on, because I'm gonna let you
Hold
speak.
on. We ain't gonna talk
Hold
over
on,
one
Okay.
another. We
hold
gotta
on.
hear one another.
If
No
you're
problem.
going to
No
say that
problem.
the woman is saying these things and her being responsible and her equating this to success as walking in her masculine, that is not what they're saying when they're saying that. And this is
Then
what
stop
you're
saying
No.
it
putting
then.
it as. That is not what they're saying. 'Cause I don't
No,
say that shit. I
then
don't say
stop
that shit.
then
But
stop
when they
saying it then.
do,
Then and that's
listen, when they
hey,
do say that, They only say that because the men in general aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing in the home. And so they are doing their job. That has nothing to do with success. That has nothing to do with them not being a
Listen,
But
woman.
Cece,
listen,
I think you're
listen.
missing what Mr.
You're
Alex is
missing
saying.
the
No,
I think
I
point.
you're
hear what
missing.
he's saying. It doesn't
No, you're
equate to
not. You can't
success.
be.
He just
But that's
literally
what somebody in the comments said, though. That's what somebody in the comments did say. Someone in the comments said, an independent woman. Hold on, I'll read you the comment.
please
An
read me the
independent
comment because
woman.
I would never say nothing like that because that does not equate to
I
success. It
know.
does not equate to independence. They end up wanting to be independent because they're forced to be in that position. That does not equate to any of
Okay.
that shit.
Be independent. Do not rationalize your independent and success with masculinity.
No,
Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna from this side of it, from a man's side of it, what you were saying is you have to be a man in order to be successful. You have to operate as a man in order to be successful. You have
that's
to
not what I'm
operate as a
saying.
man in order to be responsible. Then no
Well,
woman should
there's a
say
there,
ever again that I'm operating my masculine because a man does not exist within my life. That
there's a
makes no
double-edged
fucking
sword to that.
sense. It's
There's
degrading.
a
And I'm
but
telling you.
Hold
there's a
on, hold
double-edged
on.
sword to that.
Hold on, bring facts. Let Mr. Alex finish his thought, and then I'll
Yeah,
come right over to
let him
you. Okay?
finish.
Then I
Okay.
just
This is
you
the
gotta give
this
me a
is the
minute.
reason why I say it's degrading, right? I'm all about women's rights. I have no problem with women standing up in women power and all of this shit. Stand on your women's power, your femininity, and the reason why you are being successful and being responsible. You should not have to invoke masculinity in order to praise yourself or put yourself on a pedestal and compare yourself to a man if you are being extremely feminine and successful. It makes no sense. It doesn't.
Okay.
And for you
Can
to
I
say
address
that,
that?
and for any woman to say that, it's just like it's just an oxymoron to me. It just makes no sense.
Can we address a couple of
Go
things
Go
ahead,
just
bro.
ahead.
regarding that? Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
This is just my observation. Tell me if it makes any sense to you. In our society, because we basically have this masculine normative sort of idea of what leadership is, what success is, that sort of thing. Essentially, the same things a woman does that a man would do, where he would get praised, a woman will do the exact same thing and denigrate it. So when it comes to employment, the three milestones of success: buy a home, get married, have kids, make a man more marketable to an employer, and a woman less. All right, we literally have a thing that we refer to as the motherhood tax. Basically, a little carve out of 18 years that she's expected or literally insulted for simply prioritizing also even of a career. All right, but she's out the entire time. She's considered less of a woman because she didn't be a stay-at-home mom, but also giving grief if she shows any leadership tendencies, such as I believe in my own position on this, and I'm going to stick to my guns and prove myself right. She's being a bitch. She's difficult. She's being everything you could imagine. And that's the same things that we as men don't tend to do. We don't tend to get that sort of grief for the same behaviors. And I guess maybe she might have worded it in politic, or the person in the comments may have, but I get where they're coming from. Can you?
No, I don't. I didn't
See,
understand the damn thing you
see,
All
just
right.
said.
see.
Okay. Okay.
He
Did
No,
anybody
basically so
else? Did
I
basically,
didn't.
and if
I
if
didn't
anybody
I
understand
else?
anything you just said, dude. Go ahead.
if I understand you correctly, sir in the corner, what you're basically saying is the
My name's
thing.
Daniel.
What's your name, honey?
I'm Daniel.
Daniel. Okay,
Hi, Blue.
I'm Cece. So first of
Oh,
all,
I like that. I like that name.
if I thank you, if I understand you correctly, you were basically saying that the things that we do and the way that we respond or the way that we're treated and the way that we act as women, they call us bitches and they call us masculine or they call us whatever it is that they call us, and that's where it comes from. Is that what you were saying?
It manifests in that way because I saw this in the military. I saw this in my own profession. Once I retired from the army, all these different things. Women doing the exact same things that their male counterparts, whether it be in their profession or their personal life,
Yeah.
would basically a guy gets praised for simply doing what he's supposed to regarding fatherhood. All
Mm-hmm.
right, but a woman would basically be looked upon if she didn't do triple that.
There you go.
Oh
And
my
that's where
god.
the women get the attitude from.
I know dudes who
The
a
women get the
man with
attitude
his
from
Oh
this
my
child
shit.
at a
God,
park. A
bruh,
man at a
you gotta be
park with his
shitting me.
child.
See,
Tell me I'm wrong about this. Tell me if everybody here, tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh my
A
God.
man just simply watching his child at a park, the same thing that every stay-at-home mom you've ever seen since antiquity has done. All right, will be treated as somehow as if he is like a super dad. Whereas a woman who isn't there with every bit Johnny on the spot for every single second, a skim knee,
What
she's
does that
treated
have to
and
do with
denigrated.
the topic?
listen,
I'm
listen.
talking about the double
What does that have?
standard.
He's
What does that
talking
have to
It,
do
about
with
the
the
double
topic?
standard.
I'm illustrating the double standard that in the personal as well as the professional, and it's a real
Oh
thing.
Lord.
It's. Are you saying it
Okay.
isn't?
It creates
I
the
think that we
issue.
got off the original
No,
topic
he is
because of
definitely
some of the
on it.
comments.
He's
No,
No,
definitely
he's
I'm
not
on
on
saying,
the
it.
no,
original
I'm not.
topic.
I'm on the
Okay,
He's
listen,
not
topic
on
wait,
the
right
hold
original
on.
now.
topic.
Hold
I've
Listen,
seen it a
on.
He's
million
not on the
times.
original
Hold on,
topic.
live. Hold on, live. I love you guys. I respect the two gentlemen in this, like, and I respect the ladies in here. But let me tell you something. I respect both of these gentlemen very, very much. Mr. Alex, he is my round. I will rock with him to the wheels fall off.
Amen.
yeah.
Bring facts. You have like this a way of describing things and seeing things from a different perspective to make you think about different things. However, let me make sure that everyone is on topic so everyone understands exactly what we're talking about that's in the panel right now. All right. Now, I seen a TikTok. This is what I brought forth. I seen a TikTok where a gentleman said, when a feminine woman is in discomfort for too long, she will naturally become masculine. Femininity cannot thrive in discomfort, right? So, this is where the topic started. This is where we came from with the topic. Cece gave her opinion about how she thought that more independent women fell into, if I'm not mistaken, please make sure,
No, what I
like
stated
what
was
would come
the
with it.
situation can create them, excuse me, the situation depending upon them having to pull themselves into that particular assertive or particular, feeling of masculinity can put them in the position of wanting to be independent because they're doing the masculine activities, not that they're
Let me say
independent
this.
because of
Let,
it.
let me say. Let me say
I
this.
just wanted to say
Let me
what I
say this.
said, Blue, and
This.
I'm sorry. One second. I wanted to say what I said because some of the comments that you guys are not having an opportunity to read, maybe, were going off topic. Not saying that anybody in the panel necessarily was.
We're not worried about that. Comments are comments. We're going to answer
Okay.
them and catch them.
Let me say this.
No
Based on
worries.
what Blue said, right? A woman being in discomfort will naturally start operating in a masculine,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Correct.
If a feminine woman is a woman, discomfort only raises her level of femininity.
Mm-hmm.
Within her purpose and drive in being a feminine woman that wants to provide and create a self place for not only herself but her children
Mm-hmm.
and any man that chooses to be a part of her life. She does not have to operate in any or try and think that she has to either raise herself, shift herself to the left or to the right because she knows herself. She does not have to be anything but herself, which is a feminine woman.
Mm-hmm.
A woman. She doesn't have to try and pretend to be a man. Period.
So then
She
what he
doesn't have
said
to
I,
try
about
and
the
I
do
double
don't I
manly
don't
standard.
think that's
things.
what was being said. I
So
don't think that was what was being
let me
Look,
said
ask
look,
you a
here.
dude,
question,
look, man,
Alex.
look. All of this, hold on. Let me finish this thought.
Go ahead.
This whole thing of people having to try and recreate themselves to be something other than themselves is why most people don't know them fucking selves. And they're confused and they walk around here being manipulated by all of these talking points and bullshit that people spew out of their mouths. If you know yourself, you don't have to try and be anything but yourself. If you're a woman, you're going to be a woman regardless. If you take your kids to the park or not. Somebody else thinking that you're a better mom because you don't or you do is bullshit. A man being in your life because he wanted to or did not want to should not take you into a place of trying to do manly shit.
Now let me
You're either
ask
a
you this right quick.
responsible parent or you're not.
Now let me ask you this though, Mr. Alex. Now, I from what I gathered from what Bring Facts was saying, when he was talking, he was just giving that as an example. But I have seen it done. I have seen women, more so women, praise single dads, right? For being the man that
Bare
they're
minimum.
supposed to be, for saying, "Oh
Bare
my
minimum.
God, you're such an amazing dad because
Blue, you want
because
to
you're
know
being
why?
a dad."
You want to know why, Blue? You want to know why, Blue?
Because
Because they don't
traditionally it
attract
wasn't
those.
like
Because
set up like that.
no. Because they don't attract those type of men, and they've never seen them before.
That
Sounds
could
like
be
No,
a
true
it's
Because the
too.
not
person they
post-secondary.
had,
that.
a,
Lord
Sounds
because
like a
have
no,
mercy.
That
no,
could
post-secondary
be
because the
true.
person.
education.
That could
Look,
be true though.
look here. Let me call a spade a spade. Y'all don't look.
That could
Look,
be
this is
true.
why I get banned all the time because I tell the fucking truth.
Your truth and my
Because I
truth
tell the
and
truth.
his truth and
Because
her
you
truth is
because
completely
you
different.
do not attract the type of man that will do the things that you are seeing that man go out and do. Your
Alex,
Okay.
energy is not
Okay.
attracting that type of person.
I
Can
respect
I
And
address
you,
that
something
and
and
real
this
if
is
you
fast?
true.
can't if you cannot look in the mirror and see that, then
I hate
it's not a them
anecdotes.
problem, it's a
I
you
hate
problem.
anecdotes, but I just want to give one simple thing from my real life. I'm retired from the army. I'm an ER physician and everything. I work part time whenever I want to, mostly because it's monotonous after a while. This is the thing. All right. I'm 54 years old. My last child just went off to college. All right. Up until I retired in 2019, a few years ago, right? Now, this is the thing. I basically have all the time in the world on my hands. All right. I don't have to do anything. I own my own restaurant. I do a bunch of stuff, right? But the thing is, since I don't have a boss and a job and a 9 to 5 and all that type of stuff, I get I have been had people try and talk smack until they hear the one thing. Oh yeah, I also own a bar and that's basically passive income, and also I have my retirement from the VA and the military, and then they find out how much I make. Once they hear that, then I'm a decent man. Up until that moment, I'm a trifling piece of crap because I'm a stay-at-home dad. You know what I mean? That is a regular occurrence of people who don't only hear about me and the things about
What's
me
that have
until up
what
until a
what the
certain
fuck does
point.
that have to do with a woman being
What I'm
So,
masculine?
trying to point
What does
out
that
is that the double standard that happens is that
double
were
standard
I
ain't
a
got nothing to
female,
do with the topic?
were no,
yeah,
it literally
yes,
does,
it
because
does
guess what?
though.
Where me and my wife flip flopped, and it had been my wife in that same situation, the income wouldn't have made any difference. The important thing would have been the do you take care of your kids? Did you make sure there's a meal? Yada yada. Because there are traditional gender roles that are kind of
Let me
arbitrary
tell
and
y'all
don't even
Okay.
reflect history.
what
All right,
y'all gotta
let me
stop
bring
doing.
some let me bring something up right quick
Let me,
because
let me
you
say
brought
this
up
because
I
I'm
wasn't gonna
about to
bring up
leave.
your profession,
No,
Daniel, but
you
I'll
can
go ahead
stay,
and ask you
Alex, because I'm
this.
about to get up out of here. Because listen, let me say this, Blue. I
No,
am a
I'm
very
finna go to
truthful
my I'm about
person.
to go in the house with my kid.
I'm a
So
very truthful
okay,
person. Alex is a very
But
truthful
I have a
person, and I respect him. I respect everybody on the panel, okay? Everyone's truth is whatever they believe, whatever they understand, and people have to be able to understand to agree to disagree and talk about topics in peace, okay? And his truth may not be everyone else's truth. Someone else in the comments,
but
what
let me
they
ask you
believe
this.
may not be that. And
Let me
people
bring
have
this
to
back right
understand that.
quick. Let me bring this back. Let me bring it back to the topic. So the topic, Daniel, let me let me see if I could get you to maybe verbalize it in a way that what you're saying is applying to the masculine and feminine roles. So
mm-hmm.
when we're talking about women becoming more masculine because of the discomfort, let me ask you, in reference to that, would you agree that there is a such thing as, would you agree or disagree, let me put it that way, that there is a such thing as uh feminine masculinity, or do you think that the woman's femininity just gets increased based on the situation that she's put in?
I think it's situational, and I believe that's socialized, because when it comes to most of this stuff, what we're talking about is simply we've essentially the way misogyny and all this type of stuff and works very insidiously is
Oh,
that we basically take, dude, you don't really care, I get it, right? Is basically we take a bunch of positive traits, things that we traditionally agree, leadership stuff, aggressive and the proper situation, yada yada yada, all these positive traits, and we just call those masculine, and all the passive things that we basically denote as beta and weak and all that type of stuff, and we call those feminine. And then anyone who works outside of those, whether because of their own circumstance, situation, or what have you, then we're basically trying to police them for basically not doing what we think they should be doing because that's not the
All right,
norm
Hey,
and
can
that's
Tony.
not traditional.
let
Go
me
ahead,
can I
Alex.
before I leave? What branch were you in, bro?
Navy, Marine Corps, and Army. I'm a retired lieutenant
All of
colonel.
them?
Yep, 26 years. I was a
Oh
Navy
Lord.
corpsman, and I was with Force Recon in the Marine Corps, and I was Second Ranger Battalion and First and Fifth Special Forces group before I went to med school, and I left as a 62 Alpha ER physician.
All right, so let me leave. Let me leave by saying this, bro.
Go ahead.
Let me leave by saying this to everybody. Okay, stop letting society put you in boxes. Stop setting labels. Stop letting labels define you as a person. Your life is your life. What you attract is what you attract. Blaming somebody else for their failures within your life will never get you anywhere.
Who
Anywhere.
said anyone was blaming?
I
And
I say nothing
I didn't
about
say
blame.
anybody was
I
blaming
didn't
anything.
either.
I didn't look,
Yes, you
y'all.
did. Yes, you did.
No, I said it
Yes,
can
you did.
create.
Did I
I
say?
didn't hear him say
First
No,
that.
off,
no,
I
I'm
think you
saying
said.
he
I
implied
just.
it heavily. You implied
I
it
am
I,
making
heavily
a
that it had happened.
generalized task. All you got to do is
that's
just
it.
shut the fuck up and listen, bro. That's it. That's all you got to do. I don't. I'm not. I don't serve under you. You don't serve under me. So, just all you got to do is shut the fuck up and listen. We ain't in the army no more. We both fucking retired, bro.
Loving it, ain't it? I get it.
At the end of the day, you cannot let other people's societal norms, catchwords, buzz phrases, and all of this shit define your happiness and what you choose to be. You can call it whatever the hell you want to call it. I label myself and carry myself as someone of values and morals. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to like the way that that I choose to go about living my life. No more than I have to like yours.
Of
The only
course.
thing I have to do is leave you the fuck alone. That's it. But
Okay.
for me personally, I think it is degrading of women to say that they have to become a man in order to be seen
I didn't say
as
that.
equal. Why can't they just be women being
I didn't say that.
responsible and
I
extra
didn't say they
damn
did.
boy, if you don't, man, let me get the fuck out of here. Don't bring me on no lives no more with this motherfucker, bro.
Mm.
I'm just saying he.
Okay, Blue. This what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here because what I don't do is I don't do disrespect. I don't do low vibrations. I don't do any of that shit. You know how I am. Okay. As a spiritual life coach, you know how I am. And he's a very good, very nice individual, very good individual from what I've seen up until that point. Everyone has a right to their opinion, a right to their truth, a right to their feelings, a right to what they say, what they believe in. Just because he believes in a particular thing does not mean he is putting himself in a box. Just because
I
I
don't think
believe
he
in a
was saying
particular
that. I
thing
think
does
that,
not mean I'm putting myself in a box based upon society. No one is putting themselves in the box, not even
Yeah.
anyone in
I
the
don't. I don't
comments.
think.
Everyone just
I don't think
believes
he was
different.
saying that though, Cece.
You, girl, I got
I
this
don't think he was
recorded. I'm
saying
gonna
that. I
send it
think
to
we were
you.
talking.
I'm gonna send it to you.
I think we were talking about some. I understand what he. I understand he said the box, but I don't think that he was saying that Bring Facts was talking about anyone being in a box.
Aw.
You were. He was just saying in general because
Mm.
he had brought up how when we brought up this situation when you had brought up a particular situation about or no, me, when I brought up the particular situation about men congratulating or praising women praising men who take care of their children, right? He
Mm-hmm.
said that's because that's particular men that you're used to encountering. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I'm not gonna praise a man for doing what he's supposed to do for his child. I don't like that. In all reality, I think you're supposed to do that.
The thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around is the things he was saying, as far as they smacked at the same thing when I heard Kanye saying slavery sounded like a choice. All right, it was one of those type of
Yeah,
deals. It started feeling
Here's the
like
thing: we're
that.
not gonna bring, we're not gonna do. You know, I don't do that on here, my guy. You know, I don't
Okay,
do that on
okay,
this live.
okay. All
We
I'm
don't
trying.
do that on Blue's
Okay, then
Live.
just back. Then just stick
That's
very
Bring
close
Facts
to what
Live.
he's saying. I'll just stick to very close to what he was saying.
Just the yeah.
What he was saying
I
is
mean, here's the thing:
all
he is
I
a
was trying to get
very
at,
strong, opinionated individual.
and
He
I
is a
get
very
that.
strong, opinionated
Nothing wrong with
individual,
that.
just like everyone on this panel is a strong, opinionated individual. What I will say is that everyone, like, whenever you come in my boxes, I don't care who you are. When you come in this box, please respect the fact that it is my live and I run it in a very structured manner. And if someone is talking and you are not muted, try to keep all noises, and I'm talking about Mr. Alex too, down to a minimum, because we want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear, because the from both ends it was a like mentality, like I can't believe what he's saying. Not just one person was saying it, but everybody was kind of doing it.
I did.
We all
I'll
have to
admit it.
respect the fact that everybody has opinions, and I respect. I want to learn from y'all. At the end of the day, I brought this particular topic up because I want to understand what the big riff is when men say that women are being toxic masculine, and women are saying men are being toxic masculine, but I don't really understand how a woman can be masculine at all, that live in that masculine realm. I think it is just a higher level of
It's
femininity
really
that
simple.
she resides
Can
in.
It's really
can I
simple
say
how they
something
can
really
do it.
quick?
Of course. Sorry.
Hold on, Bring Facts. Let Kat go ahead and talk.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Kat.
I'm so sorry. So, according to the definition that you gave in Google, if we go back to that, it is
Yeah,
saying that it is not genetically bound to us in any way.
it is
So, if
not
we take out
biologically
that
driven.
biologically driven, then
Correct.
what Cece and what Daniel have brought to the table is saying that it is society driven, and that society creates and dictates the definitions of that particular word.
That's
That's what
exactly what
Mr.
I was
Alex was
trying to
saying
say.
as well. But that's what Mr.
That's
Alex was saying. Y'all were saying it in two very different ways. Y'all were
How?
saying it in
that's
I'm
two
gonna go
very
back
different
and
ways.
look at
As
this
someone who
video
was
because I'm
objective and
recording
was
it.
listening. Yeah,
well. The
listen
thing
to it.
is,
What
he
he was
got
saying.
stuck.
He
He
was
got
saying
hung
the
up
exact
on the
same thing.
blame portion, which at no point was I like. For instance, when I came in there, I never talked about anybody being blamed for anything.
There we
But
go.
after I finished saying exactly what you described, the first thing and the last thing before he left was all about the blame.
All right, so let's take Mr. Alex out of the equation. Let's
Oh
take
no,
Mr.
because that's
Alex,
a big part of this conversation. Because that's
but let's take it out of the
We
conversation
can
for
let
a
it
minute
go, I
though. Let's take
guess.
that particular opinion out of the situation. Let's talk about let's talk about the original question. So the original question was, when a feminine woman is in discomfort for too long, she will naturally become masculine. What is your opinions on that, Daniel?
go ahead.
I think there's a problem with the question. I think there's a problem with the question, but I'll address it as it is. I believe that she will do what she has to do in order to get through. Because a woman in a situation, she's going to woman up, and she's going to do what she has to do. It will be perceived. The natural inclination to be
Mm-hmm.
advocate for herself, to learn how to do things for herself. Those things that she may have in a different situation or a different life have had a man that might be able to do those things. She's going to learn how to do herself, and they will be
Adaptation.
perceived as masculine, and they will be perceived as being masculine or too harsh or being a C word or a B word or that type of stuff. When the
Right.
truth is, no, no. If this was a dude, you'd be talking like, man, he don't take no shit. I like that about him, and that's the issue that I'm seeing here. Because I'm at the end of the day, I may have done whatever I do, but I'm just a dude from Queens, New York. All right, I just grew up as a kid from Queens, New York, and I saw this, and I saw women having to do what they had
Hi,
to do,
Auntie.
Hey,
and,
Auntie.
and the idea that that makes them less feminine is crazy. My wife is a badass, and I don't take away any of her shine just because she's a badass. Sometimes she's more badass than me, and I literally hunted down terrorists for 25 years.
Well, listen, let me tell you, I did not derive this question. I came across the TikTok and the gentleman said it. So I said, oh, this would be something good to talk about on my live. I did not know
Yeah,
I was going to
I
have
just
two of the people that
no,
I really do
I just
respect
meant
on
that
this
it's
motherfucker
I
going at it. The
all I
fuck?
was just trying to get at is that I think that when it comes to that, it's just a question of perception. Because that last part of that
Definitely.
statement is just people perceiving it as masculine. When it's just people basically, she pulled up a big, she put on her Spanx and she decided to go out there and get that job. Got to do what I got to do.
And the women
All
who
right.
do that, they perceive it as masculine. So they perceive they're being
Yeah,
masculine. So they say it.
Because people in the system learn how to comport. They internalize it, and they figure this is the way we got to go. It's all fine and well to want it to be some way, but is and ought ain't the same thing. So I'm going to basically go along with the program, and they
I do.
police other women, not that go against it, especially ones that basically are beneficiaries of having comported to that program before, and they basically see anything new that may work or might work as being subversive. And we've seen it a bunch of times when dealing with auntie such and such or grandma
Oh,
so and so.
Okay, so I will ask, okay, so let me, for everyone coming in the live, if you are not talking, I will ask you to mute your mic. That way we can hear and understand everyone clearly. Um I don't want any talking over each other. What up, TikTok baby daddy? Um, is it Black Mauled? I'll get your opinions on what we're talking about. Please go ahead.
okay. Well, the thing you was talking about the blame game, bring facts, right? It was because you was using buzzwords, right? You said something about misogyny, right? That's a buzzword to blame men. It's not referring to women. So that's what Alex was talking about when he said, okay, can you correct me then if that's not the blame?
No, no,
Massage.
no. I
This is
wasn't.
the thing.
I wasn't disagreeing with you or agreeing with you. I
No,
was
no,
telling
it's
bring facts to mute his mic right quick.
Okay, gotcha. So that's what he was referring to when he was talking about buzzwords, and you were saying about not playing the blame game. That is playing the blame game. When you throw out buzzwords, feminist talking point buzzwords at that, right? So that's what that is. You sound like a male feminist, which is nothing wrong with that, but you can't sit back here and play victim after the fact you put some words out there, kind of insinuating or alluding to certain things. Yeah,
Now you can go ahead. It's an easier way. We're not talking over
no
each
problem.
other or making like noises or hearing anything. Or if you wanted to make
No,
noise, no one can hear you when you're on mute.
no problem. I'll do that from now on. All right. It does seem like it works pretty well. All right. I respect the room. So what I'm trying to get at here is all I'm trying to do is use the accurate term. And the thing is, a female can also be misogynistic. Because the thing is, it's about the target, not the person doing it. And the thing is, in this particular case, a female, like I was saying earlier about how they'll police their own that are basically going against the program, that sort of thing, can also engage in misogyny. So the idea regarding this whole blame thing, that's not what I was talking about. I'm saying it's a system that's what is acceptable behavior, acceptable comportment of profession, attitudes, what have you, that sort of thing, behavior and such. That is what goes on, and it's not about whether or not it's a female or a male doing it. It's just who the target is.
But is that classified as being is that when you categorize it as being under masculinity, is that or misogynistic, is that
Yeah, it would still be misogyny whether it was a female or a male doing it, as long as their target is a female to behave in a certain particular set, data set of behaviors, that sort of thing. This is what you can do is for a living. This is how much you're allowed to work, if at all. This is what you need to do as far as with your children. This is how you need to behave when it comes to basically insubordination to authority, that sort of stuff. All those things can be part of that misogyny or patriarchy. I never even mentioned until right now that term patriarchy, but it's a real thing. It happens. I've witnessed it. I've lived it. I've recognized it in all different stratas within my life. And the thing is, most of the time I've had to notice it after the fact, because until you've actually had firsthand knowledge, because you got to believe people when in that this problem exists when they tell you, and then you verify. You can trust, but you got to verify. And then when you verify, it's like, oh crap, freaking Tanya was basically asking for the exact same thing that Jim was, and Jim was getting praised for it, and Tanya's a cunt for some reason. Or they're treating, you know, she's getting paid less and passed over, and she did most of the work, but because he is basically, no one was told who actually did it. They made the assumption that it was him who was actually in charge and came up with all those great ideas. No idea that she was the one who actually did all the freaking Xeroxing and collating and actually put together the presentation. And the only reason that she didn't speak up is because when she stood up, they said Jim's name. and she just sat the fuck back down. That sort of thing. And this is something that happens whether it be in personal or even professional. This is what tends to happen. And that thing, what I was saying about how we basically, the way that it works is that we decide on what are positive character traits, and the ones that basically comport leadership and such, all right, with the active voice, are considered masculine. And the ones that are considered positive character traits, but in a passive voice, which is really just negative character traits, we call those feminine. And then we tell these people that are basically stuck under that to learn to love your chains, and that makes you more of a woman. What?
All right, I'll get you to mute for me, Daniel, and then I'll let me let Cece respond, and then I'll come back down to you, Black Mall. Is that okay with you? All right, go ahead, Cece.
Okay. I'm gonna agree with Daniel, and here's why I'm gonna agree, because being in so many different fields of work before I came into my own career, I have watched the double standard create that type of an attitude with people, with women in general. You get paid less for doing the same job someone else is doing, working in a call center, Sally making 17, Bob over here making 25 and already about to get promoted, but Sally does better work. Okay. And so now Sally has to be aggressive, be assertive, and do other things to even get noticed as much as Bob or the other guy was getting noticed or getting paid. And it happens no matter what type of position you in. It doesn't have to be a call center. It can be anywhere in the world. Men get paid more doing less than what women do, and women feel like I gotta be assertive, I gotta bulk up, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, just to end up getting paid less than what the men are getting paid. And it happens, and it's a frustrating thing. Does that mean that the women are degrading themselves by calling themselves masculine? No. It doesn't mean that they are not degrading themselves. They are actually trying to assert themselves to get the same level of respect that they see men getting respected. They're trying to assert themselves. It's not that they want to be masculine. They feel that at this current moment I have to assert myself to be masculine because I'm not being respected. And even in relationships, I know a few people in relationships with men who ain't doing what they need to do, who not being the leader of the home, they not being the king, they not paying the bills properly. The women are sitting up here taking care of everything, every single thing, asserting their authority because the men ain't doing what they supposed to be doing. They feel that they have to be masculine. It's not that they are masculine.
But let me ask you this.
Okay?
In saying that they feel that they have to be masculine, is that putting a like a title or a term that only masculinity can be able to do those things?
No. It's not putting the title on it saying, okay, I have to be masculine to do all this, because by themselves they would already be doing all that. So it's not saying that. What it is saying is that whether it's on the job, whether it's in the relationship, whether it's in whatever field it's in, a particular type of situation that the woman is placed in, she feels she now has to be masculine. I have to be assertive. I have to do all these things instead of being my beautiful feminine self. I now have to do all this to even get somewhere.
Got
To get some, that's not
got
saying that they won't get nowhere being their beautiful feminine self, but they notice via society that I now have to be fucking extra to even get noticed and get somewhere.
Okay. All right. I'll get you to mute, CC, and I'll let Black Mall go ahead.
So it's two things. I want to address the brother down there bringing facts, right? Um, what you're talking about in the workforce, right? It does happen, but the problem, well, there's kind of both of your points. But the problem is, right? It's not about being masculine. It's about the fact that, first of all, gender pay gap is false. It's to be been debunked. That's the first thing I want to say. Gender pay gap does not exist. It does not exist. It's illegal. Understand, it's illegal. If you brought, just like you brought that up, they would pay heavily. They just got Google. They just got, if I know how, for the same thing, right? It's illegal. The problem is with this is that the reason why men make more than women on average is because men work more hours, first of all. Secondly, because men actually go in there and they try to they
Hold
go
on,
in there
hold
and
on.
I
Go
they
ahead.
go in there and they establish and they try to get raises more than women. They assert themselves. Yes, that's true. Women can do that too. That's not being masculine if women do it. It's not being masculine. It's knowing your own work. I agree with that. Women should do that. That has nothing to do with relationships, though. That is two different things. In your relationship, if you can't come to your relationship and you cannot come to a relationship and say, okay, well, he's the man, and yes, I'm going to be assertive at this job, but then I compartmentalize my relationship and do something different. That's a problem with you, sister. That's a problem that you cannot compartmentalize and say, yeah, on this outside in this workforce, I'm going to be assertive. I'm going to ask for what I deserve, and I'm going to demand what I deserve in this section. But in your relationship, it's something totally different. And the women that you speak of that's being a man or quote unquote masculine in their relationship, that's her problem because she should never be with that man in the first place. That's not an issue on a micro with a man being with a man trying to dominate her or whatever. That's the fact that she accepted something that she was not that she had to assert herself even more for and take over that position as a man. She needs a man. She actually needs a man, not a male.
All right, so before we come to you, Brain Facts, I'll let you hold on to your thought. Um, is it Malik?
Hey, that's my name. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you great.
Yes. I just something. Bring facts and Black Mold already kind of brought up was the pay gap. That's just false because if if companies could just pay all women, they would hire all women if they knew they could just pay everyone pay y'all less and not men. They're about their bottom line and they would save money no matter what. So the pay gap it's not real. The only real thing about all that is the industry that you're in. There's hundreds of jobs that are male dominant, and it's for pretty good reason. Most of them are physical or just dangerous in general, and 99% of women don't want to be part of that. And, there's always the exception. There are women that are doing those dangerous jobs and stuff like that, but not a lot. So like you can't really say the pay gap is because men are taking on more risks than women do.
Okay, let me ask y'all a question, and this can go for everyone on the panel. That pay gap that y'all were referring to, um, do you think that applies in all fields?
Yes, Blue. It happens in all fields. It does not matter what it is. Why do you think every employer, the ones that get caught for it, they have to deal with it? Okay. So if they get caught for it and a lawyer gets involved, they have to deal with it. But if you check the contract you sign, you can't talk about your pay. Those who happen to talk about their pay because they're close happen to find out that the men are getting paid more than the women, and that's when all the drama starts. It ain't no such thing as this is lies and the pay gap is no. It people end up finding out the reality. Men get paid more, and most of the time, some of the men do less work. It just y'all.
It just depends on the field.
It
It
depends
really,
on the
she's right. It
field.
really does depend on the field. It really depends on the field that you're in, that the amount of work that you're doing. And yes, there is a pay difference. And I could say this, that a male nurse, for example, a male nurse coming straight out of school will get offered more money than a female. Why? Because he's a male nurse, and because of that, what about like the equality, the what is it, minorities,
EEOC. Yeah.
yeah, He's the minority in that particular field. It should be that way when a woman goes to work in the oil and gas industry. It is not. It is not, because the woman is perceived not to be able to lift as much, do as much, pull as much, work as hard. You understand? Because she's a woman, and she might mess around and get sick, or she's got kids to tend to at home and ain't got nobody to help her. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of factors that play into
A
that.
lot.
A lot. Um, so let me get the new person, Wendy. I have you on mute. Sorry, hon, just to explain how my live works. Everyone goes on mute except for the one person not talking. And then you go back on mute. That way we're not talking over one another, because everybody wants to be heard and understood that's on the panel. So I'll get you to go ahead and unmute. Is it Wendy? Am I doing that right? Yeah. Okay. I'll let you go ahead.
No problem. So to the gentlemen in the room that think there's no pay gap disparity, I've been in human resources for 34 years. I have to fight it constantly. The reason people don't know that it exists is because companies pay settlements. Companies fix it. Companies pay out money because they know they did it, it was wrong, and they have to repair it. So understand there is a pay gap disparity. I don't disagree with you, Black Mauled, that, I mean, you have to be assertive. But assertiveness does not always dictate being paid the same as the male counterpart. I hire engineers, male, female, automatically. The managers want to go, oh, I need that guy. He's going to be able to do this, 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 and that. Just based off a resume, not even a conversation. And have the same female, same statistics, same, and sometimes better, and don't want to pay her as much because she's a female. She's going to take more time off. She's going to do this. She's going to do that.
I told you that.
So I don't know where the debunked comes from. I think that we don't hear about it because companies don't want you to know about it. I know they don't, because they have to write a check.
She's right.
So I came in the live because I wanted to explain just that part, and the other part about feminine masculinity. I don't know a whole lot of females that like that term. I don't think that term came from women. But as we work through it and we listen to the explanations, I was in that situation where I had to step up. I became a single mom. Didn't intend to. Went the traditional route, got married, had a child, had intended to stay married to this person my entire life.
All right. Can I generally like to kind of balance out the live a little bit when we
Sure.
have so many people. So Wendy, hold on just a minute. Malik, is it all right if I drop you down?
Oh yeah,
I
that's fine. I just want to just thank you real quick for letting me get on live
Absolutely.
with you guys, and y'all take care.
Yeah, come back. Welcome back if you want to come back anytime.
Talking about masculine versus femininity and women feeling like
You can go ahead, Wendy.
a woman actually be masculine knowing she's a woman.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Basically, my explanation. I think that I know in my case, I had to step up because nobody was going to do it for me. Is that masculine? No, that's me being a mom. That's me deciding I have to learn these things. I have to do these things because there's no male in my household now. I'm not going to go out and get married again just because that's what I need. That's not the answer. If there was an option, of course, for me to meet the next person That would have been great, but I couldn't sit back and wait. I had to make it happen. And that's where the conception of a female being masculine comes from. And it's so far from the truth. It's not it's that's not what women want to be referred to as. It's just us doing what we got to do.
All right. So where did you say the masculine term came from? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more
I'm not
time?
sure. I don't know where it came from. I don't think it. I just can't imagine. I don't know where the term came from. I just can't imagine a female defining herself as masculine.
All right. So I did, before bringing this particular topic to the forefront, I did look up those terms, right? I looked up masculinity and femininity. And just to kind of go over those terms by Dr. Google, let me make this very, very clear. I got this shit off Dr. Google. So don't go coming from my neck talking about this shit ain't factual. I don't know if it is or not. This is just what it says. Roll with me. All right. Masculinity is a social expectation of men. It refers to the roles and behaviors and attributes that are considered appropriate for boys and men in any given society. It is not biologically driven. It is socially, historically, and politically driven. And the opposite for women, for femininity, right? So, in knowing those terms, and the original question was, when a feminine woman is in discomfort for too long, she will naturally become masculine. Femininity cannot thrive in discomfort. Now, that is the question. I did not make the question up. I found it off of a TikTok that I had seen, and I was like, this would be interesting to talk about. Knowing the definitions of masculinity and femininity, and the question, when a feminine woman is in discomfort for too long, she will naturally become masculine. There, I'll let y'all go from there. Y'all discuss it.
So I have to disagree with that. I think women that are, uh, what was the first part? Women that are
In
in
discomfort,
discomfort. That
feminine
that
women.
part is absolutely right. Any woman that's in any kind of discomfort is going to is not going to stay there long. That's just in our nature. We're not going to stay there. We're not going to deal with it. I don't believe that. I don't believe with the second part that it automatically makes women masculine.
I agree with her.
I just don't. I don't believe in this concept of toxic masculinity when it comes to women.
Okay, but toxic masculinity could also be referred to as men as well. It's just toxic energy, basically. Now this is
I
what I
agree.
do need. I will ask someone to voluntarily hop down. I got someone in the queue wanting to come up.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You already have that.
All right, one in a million. You there? You're on mute if you're there. I put you on mute because anyone coming in the box has to go on mute before they express their.
Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah, we can hear you, love. Go ahead.
All right. I agree with the young lady that just spoke, the last part. But the first part I don't. That when they're in uncomfortable situations, they leave. Because if you look at any society during war, when one area conquers the other, they pretty much kill off the men. It ain't like the women leave. I'm pretty sure that's diff's comfortable. They just adapt to the new man that's there. Um, in the term of the pay difference, I've studied that, and that is not true. In today's society, women are elevated more so now than men are pretty much. They're given more positions of power than the men for some. I don't know if it's their educational raise. I mean, the education's raising up or what. But in today's society, women are being promoted more so. Put it like that. Um, I feel a woman. It's I don't know how to separate these, but we'll just say the mental and the physical, right? Or the mental and the spiritual. Yes, if you're in a hard situation, you do have to adapt. But your essence and your like my mother was a single mother, but she wasn't out here like, look, dude, and you know what I'm saying, like having that masculine energy come out. Yes, she handled her business. Yes, she did what it took. She went and got jobs. She set us up for different things that a father should do. But at no time did I look at her like my mom's masculine. She just like a man. If that was right, you could say the reverse, which is if a man is in an uncomfortable situation, he should become feminine. I'm pretty sure most women will disagree with that. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point I wanted to bring up.
Okay. Well, I'm not. Listen, it is not my place to agree or disagree with you. It is my place just to say, hey, I accept your opinion. I respect your opinion. We're just talking about it. I'm just trying to give some people a chance to voice their opinion about the masculinity in women. I guess I seen it. I thought it'd be a good topic to talk about on here. I thought it'd be somebody, be able to bring forth some new ideas and maybe some new thought processes. Just saying.
Yeah, it is a good topic. I give you that. It is a good topic.
All right. Um, yes, go ahead, Black Mauled. And then I'm gonna come over to you, CC.
Yeah, so I just want to say something to what the brother said. Back then, it was a situation where women was getting more jobs than men too. Back in the 80s, 70s, and the 80s, it was affirmative action did more for women than it did for black men. So in our community, that was definitely a thing. White women and black women benefited more off affirmative action than black men did. So that's all I want to say about that pay gap thing. We can't even. I mean,
Collectively, though, it was. I'm a like to just kind of go a step further. It was white women who benefited more than anyone off of affirmative action. Just saying.
no, I agree, I agree. But I'm just saying it was women over the black men. They kept us in a certain place just because y'all women are the divide between white men and black men. So it's definitely a racial gap thing, and then it comes to um, the way we work. The whole thing about the gender gap, pay gap thing is that they found out that the way men work, they work more hours, and this is, I mean, there's exceptions to rule. Don't get me wrong, there is exception rules, like y'all pointed out. That's exception to rule, but overall, when they did the study, they said that because men work more hours, they didn't calculate that majority of women work part time and men work full time at excess of, I think it's about 60 hours. I'm not mistaken,
All
50
right.
something to 60.
Hold on just a minute, Black Bald. I don't know who my mods are in here, but can I get y'all to like check the chat
I got you while I'm
boxes?
in
Make
here.
sure that
I
we're
got you.
all right. Sorry about that. I have to make sure that we're all protected.
No, I feel
And to add the blackball, the also incorporated in that is men take on jobs like bricklaying, asphalt, steel work. Those are higher paying jobs that women do not want to do. That was also included in that. They're like, well, these fields pay way more, and it's 2% women. That's the other part of it.
and when to like they looked at
Yep.
egalitarian. They went to egalitarian societies where women and men are free to do everything they want to do, and they still found that women chose the fields that didn't pay as much versus the men chose the fields that were more dangerous, that were more alone. Women chose to do work that was teaching, nursing, uh, psychology, stuff that kind of gave them a emotional. What's wrong?
Oh, I was saying I should not make that facial expression because I did disagree. I let me not disagree with you. Let me not say that. Them are very confrontational words. Okay. If that's the case, why were women fighting so hard? For example, in the military, why were women fighting so hard to become rangers and to be at the forefront and to become part of the Marines for such a long time? It wasn't because they weren't they chose not to. It was because they weren't allowed to.
Okay, and
Maybe
you're
that's why we fell into those more um, non roles that you were speaking
I would
of.
agree
Like we
with
had to
you,
work.
Blue. Before maybe a few years ago, whenever it started, um, women weren't accepted into the more masculine roles. Now, the only reason why I'm gonna have to say I agree with her. She's in HR, so she knows better. On her job, I think that in general, based upon what Million and Black is saying, I think it depends on the job. Okay, it depends on what type of job it is, where women get paid more, and then in another type of position or career, men get paid more. I think that it happens on both sides. And I think that going back to the masculine type of situation, I think most of time when it comes to women being or acting masculine, I think it's trauma and situations involved that create that type of feeling in women. They don't, a lot of people
Mm.
don't talk about the trauma involved that creates that issue. And even in men, when men tend to have a feminine way about them or being or whatever, there's trauma involved that invokes a particular way of being in an individual. They don't just jump up and say, hey, I'm masculine, hey, I'm feminine. No, there's something that creates that, and no one deals with that.
All right, I have two people in the queue. Wendy, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Black Mild, I wanted to keep you in that way because it kind of get you're kind of like one of the people who are not you're. I don't want to say a opposition because I don't want to say that because you seem like you're a very nice young man. But I'm just saying you're not you're going against the grain instead of with the grain. You give a good way of speaking about it. So, Wendy, did you have anything else to add, hon?
What I did want to add is I wanted to agree to the disparity with regards to um, minorities. You're absolutely correct. That's still a problem today, and I work in HR, so I make a very I'm always trying to uplift and bring in the black man because the opportunities, like you said, weren't offered, right? So that's something that we have to, when we get in positions like I have now, I have to, that is part of my consciousness constantly is I hope this man brings it. You know, I'll tell him, you're coming in this interview, I need you to bring your A game plus 100, right? Because it exists and and the black man has to constantly prove themselves worthy of a position, right? I'm a black female. It took me a while to get where I was at, but I did it because I asserted myself. And sometimes, when in certain industries, I my concern is that the black man. No, not my concern. My observation is, well, if I don't know somebody that works there, or if I'm going up against these five white guys, hey, no way I'm getting that job. You go into that room with that mentality, you're absolutely right. You're not going to get the job. But you have to step up, you have to be assertive, and you have to bring your A game plus 1,000. I raised a son. I told him the same thing. You are not equal in society. You have to do better. You have to promote yourself. And now he's an engineer. And he can
Dang.
write, he works from home. He's got people calling him to come work for them. But because I worked in HR, and because of my background, I was honest and truthful with them. This is what you're going to face. I'm going to prepare you for that world. So you're absolutely right when it comes to black men not being offered the same opportunities, and black women do get uh, get hired more. Educated women are being promoted more now because what did women do? Women said, I'm going to work this job and I'm going to go to school. Right? We put ourselves in positions to where they couldn't say no. The black man had to go work. He didn't have as many opportunities to go to school and pursue higher levels of education. Some do, but most couldn't. They had to work. So you're not wrong.
All right. So for those, thank you so much, Miss Wendy. And hey, you're welcome to come in and speak anytime you want. I have interesting lives like this most of the time.
I have to say hi to Rosebud. I know she's muted, but I wanted to say hi before I did.
Hi.
All right. So before Rosebud speaks, and I switch out the boxes. Thank you so much, Wendy. I will go over the topic again for those who are coming in. Hey, Uncle Sneaky Link, how are you, love? Oh, gee, I got to tell people coming in that are my people, my regulars. Hello, Mook. Hey, 1999. Hey, yeah, love y'all. Wow. Now my question is, I found this question off of a TikTok that I seen was made. It said, when a feminine woman is in discomfort for too long, she will naturally become masculine. Femininity cannot thrive in discomfort. So that is the question, right? Now I will let Rosebud speak and I'll bring up is it Scrooge? I'll let him come up. If I mess your name up, I'm sorry. When you come up, make sure you're muting your mic. We only allow one mic unmuted outside of my own, and that's the person doing the speaking. Rosebud, go ahead.
Okay. So, I was listening. I've been listening for a while, and I listened to your definition of masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually a social structure. It has really has nothing to do with the actual gender of the person. It's a structure that we create in society, right? So it's something that we perceive as people. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what it was saying. Correct.
So your question is asking if women become masculine. If we look at that in the terms masculine as a society perception, then I would have to agree, because then women are not really masculine, but they are the society perception of masculinity. Okay? So no, we are not we don't turn masculine. But on the outside in society, we are perceived as masculine because we, what is it, so called, quote unquote, pick up ourselves up by our bootstraps or whatever they say, get up off our feet whenever they tell us, well, if you don't like your life, get up and change it or whatever it is. Women are the ones that get up and solve the problem, no matter whatever happens, whatever our circumstances are, we're the ones that will come out of it regardless of what it is, especially if we have kids involved. Like, the woman is the one that will go beyond anything that you could consider if she has to make sure her kids are fed, or the diapers are there, or that she has to pay the rent. And we've all heard the overwhelming stories of women that have gone above and beyond and created different ideas of creating finances or creating, overcoming obstacles, right? And so that I don't think that's masculine, but I think that that's how society perceives it. Thank you.
All right. So someone in the comments said that question didn't give a defining definition. Again, let me read the definition because I probably knew subconsciously that somebody was going to say, "What is masculinity?" All right. So I went and looked it up. And according to Dr. Google, don't come from my neck. The 66 people in this live don't come from my damn neck. I just wrote down what was on Dr. Google. Masculinity is a social expectation of a man. It refers to roles, behaviors, and attributes that are considered appropriate for men and boys in any given society. It's not biologically driven, it is socially, historically, and politically driven. Now, okay, Queen. Rosebud, did you have anything else you wanted to add, love?
And that's what I was basing that determination on. According to that definition of masculinity, and then the original question, whether women are in times of strife or struggle or stress, do we overcome and reject femininity to overcome our obstacles and become masculine? I would say that we don't, but society does perceive us that we do.
Got you. And to is it no, is femininity politically driven too? I'm assuming it would be a yes because these are both social concepts. So I'm assuming that both of them are driven by what I just said. Masculinity was it's just a reverse for femininity, right? So Rosebud, I'm gonna drop you down so I can bring someone else up. Scrooge, how are you?
Sure,
Am
thank
I
you for
saying your
having
name
me.
right? Absolutely. Thank you for coming up. Please come back anytime. And if your peoples would bring facts, hey, he's my peoples too. So you're welcome anytime.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, did I say your name right?
Yes, you did, Scrooge.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Um,
Hey, mad lady.
There's so much to unpack there. Damn. I mean, the more I look at blackmail, I think we're thinking the same. I mean, it's so much that I want to say that it's just like, damn. I mean, all right. Let me start off like this. I'm from a military family where my dad was always at work, always. So my mom had to do everything from sun up to sundown. And then, I mean, she had to do more than that. And not only did she do that and was beautiful in heels all the damn time, she could represent herself in them heels on that. I mean, I want to say on the ghetto tip. She could handle herself from the gate in heels. So all of that, oh, women turn masculine because the situation is rough or whatever. No, I don't agree with that at all. There are plenty of women that have stress in their life, and every day they look immaculate, even though their mindset be on some damn. I don't feel like dealing with this shit today. So as far as people saying, oh, when a woman gets stressed out, or I mean, her situation is wherever it is, she turns masculine. Absolutely not. I don't believe a woman turns masculine at all. They don't. They handle their business. I mean, and they still can handle their femininity at the same time. There's no, I mean, anybody who says that a woman turns from a single mom that got to raise their son turns masculine because, you know what I mean, they got a boy, get the hell all the way out of here with that.
All
That
right.
I
All right.
mean, you know, that's my opinion. I mean, you know, that's how I'm sorry if anybody disagreed. Please let me know and tell me how I'm wrong.
I
Um,
disagree.
uh, CDOA, I will say this. Again, based off of what I perceived it was before looking it up on Google, I thought it was something that applied to aggressive behavior or manly behavior or what you would perceive as a
Y'all done with work?
yeah, I would say something related to a man. But that's why I looked it up. That's why I looked it up because I wasn't for sure about what it would be. I just have only heard it in terms when it is applied to like aggressive behavior, both in men and women. So therefore, I had to do my own damn research. I did it with Dr. Google. Again, y'all not gonna come for blue. Y'all not. Black male, do you want to go ahead and go next? The hook?
Everybody's talking about the social construct aspect of it, and yes, that is an aspect of it today because we want to define everything. We want to deconstruct things uh, post feminist movement, right? We want to deconstruct everything and try to rebuild it. We throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Look at it from a historical standpoint. Masculinity, right, was done. It's something that men do in order to create the society we're in today. So, is it wrong to be masculine for men to be masculine and have this masculinity? And women to have femininity. Is it wrong for that to happen? Well, it got us to this point here. So now we want to take it and deconstruct it and try to act like, okay, well, this is toxic masculinity, is this, that, the other. Try to make masculinity bad and femininity good, or however it go. And now women want to be masculine because they think that's what they have to be to compete with men. When historically it doesn't say so. I mean, it doesn't say that because many women have, and historically been taken care of. They've had wars. A lot of people have died because of femininity, right? They've Femininity is strong. Femininity is strong, but women don't see it as being strong, and that is the problem because their concept of masculinity is why they want to be more masculine to compete. And I'm not saying they call themselves masculine. I'm saying they have masculine traits. They try to bring on masculine traits that they think men have. And you can be like brother was saying. I think what he's trying to relay is that she can handle herself, not just about the heels. She can handle herself whether she dressed like as a female or a woman, womanly dressed, or she looks like a man in coveralls and all that other stuff. She can handle herself no matter what. So femininity isn't weak. We have to stop this idea that femininity is weak and masculinity is strong. They both have their places in society, and femininity is stronger emotionally, while masculinity is stronger physically. And we have to keep on that aspect
What?
and stop all this deconstructing shit because we're fucking each other up. We're actually fucking up. The next generation, we're messing them up by going through all this stuff.
I don't even
And
know
that's
the
my point.
password.
I'm done.
I'm not even finna waste time on it.
All right. Queen.
Hi, Blue.
Hi, Queen.
Hi, Pam. I wanted to address a couple of things. Black Male, you made a comment a little while earlier, maybe about 10 minutes ago. I was driving, so I couldn't hop in the box, but about how men take on the harder jobs and the things like that. And I commented and said because we were expected to raise our children, those were the jobs with the long hours. Those were the jobs that kept you away from home a lot of the time, and we were supposed to be the homemakers. Secondly, also when women would go into certain fields, it has been documented time after time that women were discriminated against because men viewed them as being weaker. This is a man's job. Well, a woman can't do this, and things like that. Those things also occurred. So when we think about it, and let me add something else. And then when women did get in those positions, at higher paying jobs and things like that, where they were in a male dominated field, there was a lot of sexual harassment. Just saying. So we have to understand that there's a lot of nuance to reasons why women aren't working the harder jobs because men want us at home with our children. They want to be the ones doing their and sit down and sorry, I got a phone call. Hold on, wait a minute. Did it mess up my audio? Am I good?
You're good.
Okay. They wanted us to, be soft, and they didn't want us to have rough hands and stuff like that. They wanted to do the hard jobs, and we allowed that. So I just wanted to give the nuance to that. Also, I am a woman who a lot of men call man. I'm a I don't give a damn how a person feels about me. I am me all day long, and that's cool. You think I'm masculine? Fine. I'm doing me, but I'm never in competition with any man. I am never trying to prove myself in society. I know my abilities. I know who I am, and it's cool. Like I'm not a girly girl. I'm not comfortable in femininity. I'm not comfortable with getting my hair done and being all frilly and stuff like that. Like I wasn't raised like that. I was raised by my dad. My dad is the one who raised me. You know, he's a mechanic, so I was at the garage. You know, popping spark plugs and dropping oil pans and stuff like that. And I'm cool with it. Like I'm married, my husband and us. You know, we pick up where the other one left. I think that's okay. I think we need to stop. Just like you said, femininity is also strong. So when we hear that there are men who have more feminine quality, also understand that that is a strength. And I think that's what gets misconstrued a lot of the times. Like I have masculine energy. I also have feminine energy. I feel like I have a little bit more masculine than I do feminine, but we all possess both. We all move through society with both. But that's what I want to say.
All right. Black Ball, did you want to say something, or did One in a Million want to say something? I've seen both of y'all's hands up, I think.
He can go if he ready, or I can go. Don't make it done.
Just one point to her, what she was saying. From a historical aspect, she says a lot of nuances. That's true, but from a historical aspect, we got to look at it. Women could not compete with men. They couldn't compete back in the day. Pre all these tools we have, they didn't have the physical strength. So they could not do the jobs it took to build society like it was. So going from that point on, yeah, when they had tools and everything else, yes, it became the point where women could do what men could do, but it was, you got to realize society doesn't change overnight. So when it comes to the point of men still having the same mindset that, yeah, women couldn't do this back in the day, so they can't do it now. You know, that's the whole thing. The mindset has to shift. Women could do what men do today because of tools, because the tools we have to do stuff, especially in hard labor. We have cranes, we have all kind of other stuff to do the stuff they used to do by hand back in the day. So now, it's more of an equal playing field. Go
Also,
ahead.
let me say this, it's not just the tools, it is also the education, because women were not allowed to get the education that men were allowed to get,
Fact.
especially white were allowed to get. I'm gonna tell you now, it wasn't until what, the 30s or maybe the late 30s, early 40s, when women were allowed to go to medical school. Medical school. So I mean, we
Hold
have to
on,
look
Black
at that
Male, before
too.
you go. I was going to say something, and we also have to understand that in society, we have to realize that we were grooming our children. Boys do this, girls do that. We can That has always been the thing. So when it comes to a woman learning a skill or doing something that is in a male dominated field, she had the cooking set, she had the baby dolls, she was naturally nurturing, she was in the kitchen with grandma, shredding the collards, taking the stems out, boiling water, doing all the things, being Susie Homemaker. We have to understand that. That's what we were doing. You know, like y'all were given the toy. Y'all were sent outside with pops with the hammer and the screwdriver and all the other things, learning the skills. Not all male dominated fields are about strength. I mean, I know a lot of y'all don't follow me, but I literally got a video of me picking up a washing machine. That's no forklift. We are strong. Naturally, the average woman and the average man, yes, the average man is stronger than the average woman, but we not average. None of us meet those markers. My traps are outrageous because of the way I've always moved through life. So I got big ass shoulders. People say I got a back like a linebacker, and I will tackle your ass like one. That's just
That
what it
part,
is.
queen.
Like
That part, queen. I
that's just
feel you
what it
right there with
is.
that, queen. But listen, my guy, CDOA, we're not sitting here making this a competition, men versus women. We're talking in general. We're not saying that women are trying to be more masculine. What that was saying, when women are forced in a level of discomfort, right? Level of discomfort meaning that your partner passes away, your partner chooses to leave, your partner, for whatever reason, you're alone and you're forced in the discomfort era. It is that forcing a female to become more masculine. Please, let's not make this a men versus women type thing. That's not what this is. This is a social concept term, right? Socially conceived term being applied to genders that it wouldn't naturally be applied to.
You know the
I
problem
think you're
I'm
trying to
hearing.
like create this strife and beef within my life, and I'm not. Hey, my
I
guy,
think the
calm it down.
problem we having is we comparing the 50s, 60s, 70s to 2022, 2010. Like, this is a whole different, none of that even applies anymore.
But do
None,
you think
none
that
of that even
those
applies.
same values were taught to children after generation after generation after generation for us to still be able to be talking about it? Because if it didn't, if it stopped back in the 1950s, we wouldn't have this discussion today.
Well, I'll tell you this. Like you
Right.
were saying, it's not a gender war or nothing.
Right.
But
I'm not saying that.
that destroyed, like, after, I'd say, the 70s. Once the feminist movement started, that destroyed everything. Like on Donahue, women were saying, that was in the 80s. I remember watching that in the 80s, women saying, oh, we don't need these men and this, that, and other. So that's been out the window for a long time of the man is to do this and the woman is to do that. The gender roles were destroyed a long time ago. My point is, I don't mind a woman handling her business. When you take on the characteristic of a man, then you're acting masculine to me. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing things a man would normally do or talk like a man, like that's I like, my wife is feminine for the most part, but my wife will also do things like she'll go outside and cut the grass if I'm at work late or something, like, you know what I mean? And I get pissed off, but I'm like, baby, do whatever you're gonna do. But yeah, she does that. She does different things that I'm like, I should have did that, but you did it anyway. But I don't look at her as masculine, because when I'm in the bed, she ain't all, yeah, you gonna give it to me, son, and all. You know, like, it's the way they act. That's what defines the masculine to me. Like, if you act like a woman, but you're doing things that a man can do, I'm fine with that. But when you start taking on the I'm the alpha in the room and all, that's my issue right there. And like I said, if we can say that's because they had to take on roles that men normally had and this, that, and other. If a dude can't find a job and this girl is working, if he walk around saying, look, I want to go to the store, you can't say nothing because he had to take on that role because he was out of his element. That makes no damn sense to me.
Okay, but at the same time, we need to understand the traits. I guess that should have been the other thing that I looked up. The traits of masculinity, right? So, what would you fellas consider the traits of masculinity to be?
Yeah, tell
Man,
us, tell us.
go ahead. Somebody else can answer
Hold
first.
on,
Yeah,
before
go
y'all
ahead.
answer
Oh, you
that,
want me to tell you?
hey, before y'all answer that, what we not gonna do is call people out their name in this live. You're blocked, sir. Men and women in this live, Blue likes to have a respectful, conversational live. We not calling people bitches and hoes and tramps and none of that in these lives.
Queen. It was a misunderstanding. He said butches,
Woo,
like butch lesbians.
woo. Cause honey, no, he was doing more than that. It wasn't
Oh,
just that he did. We don't
Okay,
do
okay. I
disrespect.
back
We don't
out.
do
I stand
disrespect in
corrected.
this live, and he's still able to hear me because he's just muted. And if he come back in here disrespectful, I will block him because we don't do that. We don't do that. Y'all go ahead and answer what Blue said.
I I want to say I come from a very large family. 13 boys, actually 13 girls, 10 boys, and my sisters are some of the most accomplished women that I know. And on top of that, not I mean, I have a sister who is a teacher in Dubai, but she's a black belt in Taekwondo. She's a black belt in Hapkido. She's a marksman. I mean, she's a marksman in all kind of weapons. But and so all this like Black Man said, the deconstruction of roles that we play, that we put on each other, is holding each other back, because at the same time, I mean, like I said, there are women that I know who are on the front lines of some, I mean, damn, is all I can say about they skills and the things they know and what they can do. I know truck drivers that are women who can do. They can run circles around a truck. They can run circles around a truck way better than men can. So it doesn't matter what I mean. It doesn't matter. You can't say, "Oh, a woman can only do this and woman can only do that," and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, we are. I mean, I'm 52 years old. I was learned that way. I was taught that way that women belong in the kitchen and men belong outside getting the money and doing, you know what I mean, protecting and providing and stuff. I was raised up that way. I didn't raise my son that way. I didn't raise my son that way because I mean he has a woman that she's about to be she's about to go to medical school and she's incredible. She's incredible.
Okay, but we're not doubting that. So my question was, what do you perceive the definition, or what do you perceive the traits of masculinity and femininity? That way
Well,
we like, what do y'all perceive that it is? That way we understand we're all kind of on the same page. Like, because the
see,
question, without y'all understanding that, without y'all understanding what the traits are, and y'all clearly defining those traits for yourselves, the question, it really is mute. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to be able
like
to.
like I said, I come from a large
A
family, and
phoenix.
I'm come from a military family too. So my dad was one of those guys where um, you don't as a dude, you don't belong in the kitchen. You don't belong nowhere near the kitchen. Don't be in the laundry room. I mean, that's woman's work. That's how I was raised. But I had to learn the hard way, and I mean, I'm 52. Like I said, that that stuff is I mean, it's just it's taught to us. These days is not it's different. These days is different, but I mean, like I said, I mean, from anybody who's above 40 or whatever, we were raised that way. We were raised that, you know what I mean, women are supposed to do this chores and these and these and these, and that's what they're supposed to do. And men are supposed to do this and this and this. And if you're not doing that, you're not a man, or you know what I mean, as a woman, oh, you can't cook. I'm saying, what's good? You know what I mean? Like, didn't your mom teach you this and da 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 da? This is how I was raised.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Scrooge. I'm gonna move on to someone else. Scrooge, I'm gonna drop you down just in case I get somebody in the queue wanting to come up.
No
Okay.
doubt. I'll be in the comments. I'll be in the
All right.
comments.
Thank you for
Black
giving your opinion, love.
Black or a million, could one of you guys tell us what you feel the masculine traits are? And then maybe me and Queen will talk about what the feminine traits are. So we can kind of get on the same page because that's what she asked.
So,
Hey, how's everyone?
Hey, Vada. Vada, I'll get you to mute your mic, love. And anybody else who's not speaking, I'll get y'all to mute y'all's mic. We're discussing can women put in feminine women that are put in discomfort naturally be drawn to become more masculine. There we go. I'll let one of the fellas talk about the masculinity, please.
so I'm gonna start with the things that men and women agree on, right? The masculine trait that they agree on is protection. That's the first thing they agree on. Protection. Men should protect their women. They should protect the kids. They should be protectors in the community. That's the first thing that I think pretty much is unanimously agreed on. They don't look for women to protect them majority of the time. You know, that's some other stuff going on. But anyway, then providing, which providing looks different in this day and age. Women make just as much money as men now, so that provision looks differently. I think providing could be basically gearing the family towards the way that in a different way. Uh, but those two things I would say is more masculine in terms the provision and the providing. Um, and as far as feminine traits, is just I think now because things are so more equal. It's more equal than it's ever been. So I think we can't even define that part of the femininity part of it because it's so equal. We can't define it by old terms. So we're right here in this space right now trying to define it as we go along, and that's why we have this whole issue with men and women now.
You gotta let
Go
them
ahead.
do that anyway. That's on them to do that part.
All right. So I'll say this. I'll say it can't be too damn equal. Look what happened with Roe versus Wade. They're still telling us what the fuck to do with our bodies. I mean, I'm just saying. Not to steer it in any other direction. I'm just
But
yeah, my
but you know
mind
that's not about
ADD
y'all.
slip past
You
me.
know that's not about women, right? You know that's not about women.
I
That's
understand.
not about.
I do know.
Okay,
But
all
in
right.
a way, we're the ones that are suffering the consequences behind it though.
Hmm. Now
Or
I
me
will
too.
say, I think
Now I will
pretty
say
much I go
I
along with
think
what pretty much the Google thing said.
much
Because in
I go
today's
along
society,
with
it's
the
subjective, really,
the
right?
Google thing
Like
said.
because in
There is
today's
no more
society,
defined role.
it's
You know what I
subjective,
mean?
really, right?
Like
I hear people
there
say
is no more
it goes
defined
from
role. You know
I
what I
hear
mean?
people say
Like
you're not a real man if
I
you
hear
don't pay the
people say
bills. To you're
it
not a
goes
real man if
from
you
I
don't
hear
pump the
people say
gas.
you're not a
You're not
real
a real
man if you
man if
don't
you
pay the
don't.
bills
So it's pretty
to
much
you're not a real
subjective.
man if you
I
don't
won't
pump
even
the
sit here
gas.
and
You're not a real
give
man if you don't.
terms
So
of
it's
what
pretty
it
much
means anymore
subjective. I
because
won't even sit
there's
here
always
and
going to be an
give
argument. Protection, the leadership quality, and providing to a certain extent. Like you said, I kind of hate when I ain't gonna get it into that, but yeah, the provision is kind of different now because women make just as much, and that's another bag of words when they say I should pay, but they make more than me. Like that's weird to me, but whatever. But those are my pretty much terms that I figure masculinity falls under. Like I said, it's subjective, but that's what I personally feel. All right, thank you. Queen, did you want to talk about
Don't drop
what
out.
you
Yeah, I'll play around. I was just gonna say that I don't believe in. I absolutely believe that masculinity and femininity are social constructs. They were ideas and thoughts that were formulated that men do this and women do that, and we have kept perpetuating that through society. Women protect as well. We protect our children. When somebody coming for our kids, we are considered mama bear. Like when people are coming for our family, our money, like we are all protectors. I absolutely get the role, and I think that's where a lot of stuff gets like murky or muddy is because we also protect and things like that that we are in competition with our men. But no, like in my relationship, me and my husband are side by side. There is no leader in our household. We are a team. I'm the left side, he is the right, and that's the way it goes. We make decisions together. Sometimes his ideas are better than mine, sometimes my ideas are better than his, but we bounce ideas off of each other because we are a team. We're moving through this together. I don't ever want to be in a relationship where most of the weight is on one person. That's strenuous. I absolutely believe that masculinity and femininity is a social construct. Women protect, women provide, women we do all the things. If you wanted me to break it down to one thing, I would say strength. Physical strength is what makes a man masculine. Like, and that's because I know some little skinny mini men, and they're still men. So I really don't even like what makes you a man. What makes you masculine is a penis. I don't have that. Like it's literally what a man can do, a woman can do, what a woman can do, a man can do outside of the reproductive um things. Like literally, the right woman can do it, the right man. That's how I feel.
all right, now I'll say this. I do have a follow-up question for you, Queen. Go ahead, Vada.
Oh, well, you can ask your question and then I'll go.
So when you say that, and when I asked you my question of the day, how do you think that? How do you think it applies? Saying what you just said about how there's social concepts, and do you think that a woman can be masculine if put under the certain circumstances? And if so, what circumstances would those be?
So I absolutely believe that society creates women to want to be feminine. We wear the tutus, we wear the dresses, we get frilly, we buy the fingernail polish, we have the baby dolls, we have the kitchen set. Society creates us to be that way. We are the Susie homemakers. We are there to make the home, but when home is not being made correctly, we try to step up to the plate. Then we are trying to provide more. We are making the moves. We are doing all the things. That to me does not mean that she is masculine. That means that she is shifting from being what society would say feminine to being masculine. But I don't believe it's just her moving through survival and doing what she needs to do. I don't find anything wrong with what they call masculine. It's like I said, men on here call me masculine all the time, and I'm okay with that because that title means absolutely nothing to me. If a woman is put in a situation where she's not being provided for, she's not being cared for, and things like that, she has no other choice but to step up. And that step up to certain men looks like she's being masculine because she's taking on the quote unquote leadership role, or she's not allowing to be reliant on a man. It is what it is. Like that's how I feel about it. But people disagree, and that's fine.
Absolutely. We can respect each other's opinions about it. I mean, I get it. Vada, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So, when I was listening and we were speaking about traits, first off, I think that though, like protection and provision aren't traits, they're roles. Protective may be a trait, but even if we go there, those are all human qualities, especially to your offspring, right? Um, I can think of nothing more feminine than protection and provision for your offspring, which, if we're real, mothers protect their children even in the wild, and provision, even down to breast milk, which occurs naturally, right? Like that's a provision. Um, at our core, the function of life, anything that's living, is to reproduce, and everyone has the abilities in them to sustain that and protect it in general. Now, as far as your question, which was, can feminine women, if placed in the right circumstances or lacking protection and provision, become more masculine? Was that the ask?
The the first question. Now, let me say for all those who have just come in, I got this question off of a TikTok that I've seen, and I was like, "Oh, this might be something good to talk about."
I
Um,
think it is.
there was a person that said a feminine woman is in discomfort for too long, she will become masculine. Feminine cannot thrive in discomfort.
Okay. Um, so I guess there's two thoughts behind that, and the first is that it can't cause her to come outside of her traditional feminine role, right? Because now she has to step into the roles that were assigned to the male partner because she's not able to get that. When we speak about like women being able to rest in their femininity and all of these things, most men that are traditional base it off the woman not having too much outside stress and being able to rest in her feminine nature and being in an area where she excels, which is the home, raising children, all of that. Though I know that women are also capable of both working and doing all of that. Um, it's just kind of in them. But so yes, the men, I don't think that it will make them masculine. I think that you can't be what society is labeled as traditionally feminine if you don't have the counterpart to that, which is what would induce discomfort, or someone that wasn't filling that role adequately would induce discomfort. Period. Somebody told me I need to start saying period after I'm done talking. because like nobody knows when I'm done.
Listen, I'm only laughing because I think I might have been in that line. All right, but I'll get you to mute. CC.
So, so I'm gonna say this. Here's what, based on my research, I know that the Western society sees masculine traits as strength, courage, and leadership and assertiveness versus like the women traits. They see that as like we're nurturers, we're sensitive, we're supposed to be sweet, we're supposed to be gentle, we're supposed to be, have empathy, we're supposed to be tender and kind and, all that lovey dovey, beautiful, nice way that they expect the feminine, the feminine or the women who are feminine, they expect us to be. Um, I believe based on your question that once we get uncomfortable, just like she was saying next to me, when you don't have the person who is the leader, you don't have that support, you don't have that assertive role in the home or even, on jobs, wherever it is, I believe that you do end up in that uncomfortable state, which causes you to be in that masculine type of, I don't know, attitude or assertive way or being. And I also kind of agree with Queen. Like, we both have masculine and feminine energy in us, and shit, we use it accordingly. So I agree with some of the things that everyone on this panel is saying. It all boils down to the situations you go through that cause you to be in whatever role you have to be in. Whether this situation is a good or bad situation, whether it's trauma, it just depends. I believe that it's situational. I believe it's situational. That's what I'm gonna say.
Absolutely. Now, I will say this though: is that under the understanding that only masculine individuals can be the leaders, protector, providers, or can a strong feminine presence there be those same things
Absolutely.
without being masculine? That's
That,
why I'm asking, like, the exchange and the difference between the masculinity versus the feminine. What separates those two? Just men and women? Just saying that men is this and women are this? What separates the two? That would be my question. Now that's my question because y'all are
Did you not see? I gave
go
the
ahead.
answer. Said a peen. A peen is. That's
Oh,
what the difference is. A
what?
peen is and a vagina. That is what the difference is.
I'm through with her.
That's the difference. Because we we are both emotional creatures, and men tend to, um, you know, shelter their emotions. They tend to bury them and express them in a different way. And we are, more fluent and free with our emotions. But we are both very emotional creatures. It's just the emotion that we are expressing is usually different, and the way the way we express it is different, and it's different completely because of societal standards. Men are not allowed to be vulnerable, and women, you're not allowed to be aggressive or assert yourself and things like that. It's all societal, all societal. But I'm gonna get off
I'll
because
get.
it's the peen. I ain't got one.
All right. I'm gonna get y'all to mute. 1 in a million. What do you
Yeah,
disagree with, love?
disagree there. When it comes to emotional, from my understanding, is women are more emotion driven than men because in most situations something happened like put it like this. When it's I can't say that because I'm on TikTok. When it's a uh perpetrator sending projectiles upon the crowd, right? I guess that's the best way I could put it. You don't hear the guys like like overreacting. We try to get every, hey, let's get over here. This that another. Like it's a she say we try to hide our emotions. It's not hiding them. It's like we react to situations differently. That's just what it is. It's not like I don't want to seem feminine, so I'm not going to express the same way they do. We just react in different ways. And the other part, like I said, it was subjective. After I said protection and provision, a lot of women came in like, no, we mama bears. I get that. Yeah, you're going to try to protect your kids in the house. But just like in Ukraine, who left and who stayed? In any of these wars, who goes in shelters and who goes out and fight? When you call police, who are 90% of the people that show up? When you call a fire department, who is 90%? Normally, we're the ones that's out there like, I'm gonna put my life on the line for others. Like I don't see too many um cases or situations where women don't know a man but die for them. Men do it all the time.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and understanding that concept of it, that brings back up the entire question of, is that something, that particular situation that you're talking about, how the women scream and the man there protect, hey, I'm He-Man, I'm coming to make sure you're good, type mentality. Do you think that is a concept that has been passed down from like from one line to another to another to another,
No,
and
I
that
think that's innate.
all
That's in us, I think.
I think that what you like what I am understanding you are saying, I think there is a reason why the women are to be taken care of before the men, and the men are to provide, or to protect. And hear me out. Hear me out. Um,
Okay.
one, it takes men and women to be able to reproduce, right or wrong. We agree on that, right? But
Uh,
only the woman can grow the human inside of them. Any man can give any semen to move for it to make a baby. Don't necessarily have to be yours, just as long as there's semen there to make the baby, right or wrong. As long as you've got somewhere to house it, feed it, harbor it, all of that to be able to reproduce. And I think that is and I could be very wrong and I'm down the wrong and windy path, but I'm just saying that's what I think. Reason why
that's
women,
the
not
So
all
thing.
I,
of
I
them,
have I have a question.
You
I
can
have a
reverse that
question.
though. Any man, I don't specifically need you to have a baby. I can impregnate any woman to have you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing.
right? I understand, but when it comes to when you're in a situation like you are in Ukraine, for example, since you brought that up, and there's a wartime
Okay.
situation, the women are going to be sent off first because they're the ones that can actually like carry the. You can't
Populate the
carry.
world. That's the word you're looking for.
There you
Populate
go.
the world. That is what it is. But also it is societal. I don't understand how we're missing that part. We weren't allowed to go in the wars. We was at home
Y'all can
with the
now.
parents.
Y'all can now.
Yeah,
Y'all not
you
massively
know
going to
what?
the war
And you're
now.
right. You're right. And they waited until 2019 to open up, excuse me, 18 to open up the field that I wanted to. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. You said it's innate, it's natural. I am one of them girls that is TCG, ready to go. Pull up, pop off. That is me. If somebody was to break into my house, listen, daddy, gonna go get him thing. I'm gonna go. We in this together. This Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I,
It's going down. It's two versus one.
I
It's going
hear
down.
you. All
I'm
I'm
about
saying is
that.
we're built for it. We're built for it. You also know in
So
2018
I'm
they
not
lowered
built
the
for it
standards for women to get in there, right? Because they couldn't meet the requirements of the men.
because the requirements were
That's all I'm saying. That's
societal.
all. We're better
Oh
at
my goodness.
protecting physical type stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Because we weren't.
Yes, there are outlier
Hold on.
women that are
Hold on.
impossibly strong, fast, quick, courageous, all that. But mass of women, mass of men. Men are the stronger of the two, the faster of the two. I mean, I get what you're saying, but you're kind of like arguing with genetics now. Like that's weird.
I'm not arguing with genetics. I
No,
stated
it's not
earlier
about
that
genetics. Because hold on. We can't bring up genetics because when I on my particular topic, it
Dr.
was about
Google.
femininity. No, Dr. Google. femininity and masculinity. Uh, it's not biologically driven. So femininity and masculinity is not biologically driven. These are social concepts that we in history have come up with to apply to gender roles. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if you look at it now, they're doing the Can you say trans on TikTok?
Go ahead. You can say
Okay.
trans as long as you're respectful, as long as you don't use the slurs with the any's at the end. But yes, transgender,
Oh,
that
okay.
is perfectly fine.
I'll just say we have a lot of transmissions nowadays, right? And
Don't call them transmissions. You can call them transgenders or
I'm just
trans
changing the word
individuals.
altogether because I don't want to get her live blocked. But what I'm
But
saying is
that's
they're
okay.
entering into the sports of females and crushing it, even though they have the estrogen put in or whatever, like they're still dominating those
King,
fields because in the base
King,
of
I'm
them,
about to eat
they're
you up.
still the same thing.
King, I'm about to eat you up. If you're gonna bring up Leah Thomas, if you're gonna bring up Fallon Fox, if you're gonna bring up these individuals, please talk about their losses because that happened. Those things happen. The women that are in the MMA, they have lost. The trans women that are in there, they have lost. The trans men that are competing, they have won. It's not about just being a man and a woman. It's also about your skill set. How well were you skilled? Who trained you? What's your body build up like? All those things are Liam lost. Leah Thompson lost quite a bit when she transferred to the women's sport when she started transitioning. It's about the training. She trained as a man for a very long time, which they train differently. Yes, they got a higher lung capacity. The wingspan is bigger. Totally get all that, but she also got that ass spanked. We got to stop acting like us women ain't out here taking shit down because I'm gonna tell you now, as a 5'5" woman, I done took down a 6'6" man that decided to put his hands on me, and nobody expected. We're not talking. Yes, biological is one thing, but I've been trained all my life to fight. My daddy definitely told me that I had to protect myself, and that's what he did. And when if you press up on me, just get ready for it. It's all about training. It's not just naturally, oh, because you're a man and I'm a woman, you gonna whoop my ass. Try me.
When did I
Try
say
me.
that? When did I
No,
say
I
Huh?
don't
that? I
think he's
say we
saying
are
that. I don't think
genetically
he's saying
different.
that.
No,
That's what I said.
you
We're
missing my
genetically
point.
different. You're
That's
an
what I'm
outlier. You've
saying.
been training your whole life. You just said that. But not every
That's what
woman has been training their whole life. That's all I'm saying. Is
King.
like,
King. That's what
okay,
I
never we're
said. I
all equal.
said
You're right. You're right. We're all equal and there is no difference at all. We'll just leave it at that. Forget it.
What she said.
Since you
But
gotta
let's
argue a point
but
that
we
I'm
can't
making that
forget.
we have
Hold
different
on.
biology,
Hold
I give up.
on. Hold on. But you can't give up one in a million. Come
See,
on
that's
now.
what I'm saying.
Listen,
Let me clarify what I was saying.
listen. I think y'all are like not really understanding what each other is saying because I listened to both of y'all. He was talking about a specific point. She was talking about a specific point, and they might have seemed like they were running parallel, and they ended up like crossing over or not crossing over, vice versa. This is all I'm saying. We all are entitled to our own opinions about this. This is something that affects us both. It doesn't matter what color you are because you either a man or you're a woman. You either believe masculinity is there and it exists in females, or you don't think it exists in females. I'm only asking and bringing forth this question because I have heard a lot of people on TikTok talk about feminine masculinity. Um, to me, that almost seems like an oxymoron. In my opinion, my opinion don't come from my neck in the chat or in these boxes. Don't come from my neck.
Can I clarify what I was saying? He was
Say don't
talking
Yeah.
come from
about
your neck.
transgender individuals competing with cis individuals. And what I was stating is none of that matters because we're talking about biological characteristic, genetics, what makes a man and a woman a woman. Men have strength and things like that. And he said that trans individuals were getting into sports with the sex that they are identifying as and dominating. And I was stating that that is not true just because that person was male or female, whichever way you want to go for whichever sport we're talking about, does not mean that that made them better. A popular person that's been talked about is Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas did win a couple of races with women, absolutely, with other women, but she's not dominating. She got that ass spanked quite a few times because the genetic part didn't matter. The fact that she was born a male didn't matter. That's what I was stating.
Yeah, see, and
Yeah, I
that's
was
where
just
you
saying
got
I
that's
don't
where there
argue
was
with
a
you
mix
there.
up.
I'm just saying like genetics is different. Sometimes you do have an advantage because of your genetics. Now you do have women that are more advanced in certain fields, like you said, with training, or their genetics might just be real close, but like overall, as a whole, men are normally stronger. That's what I'm saying. That was my whole point. Like we are biologically, our bones are denser. We have more muscle fiber. You know, like that's all I'm saying. Like I'm not saying every man can beat every woman. I play basketball. Well, I played basketball, and I had a female point guard that was breaking ankles out there. I get what you're saying there. I'm just saying like pound for pound. That's what I'm saying. That's all I was saying.
CC, did you want to speak?
So I get what both of them were saying. And I think the confusion came in from when they started talking about the transgender thing. It doesn't matter what anyone is, it doesn't matter their genetic makeup. It definitely matters how your body was trained, like she said. Both men and women in general, before women were able to get into anything, even though our genetic makeup has us being a women back in the day, we weren't able to train and do certain things. So we did not have the strength, the power, and the ability that we do now in 2022 to be able to do the things that we do now. Some women were able to do that because some parents still trained and taught their women to be strong for whatever reason. Women weren't taught originally to be in any way strong, just like men weren't taught to be sensitive. Men weren't taught to be loving and understanding and have quote unquote feminine traits. M- none of this was taught on both sides. Things begin to happen over time where we were able to cross over and do certain things the way that we do. Yes, genetically, men are supposed to be stronger than women. Are they all? No. Yes, genetically, women are supposed to be softer than men. Are they all? No.
I will say this. This has been an amazing life, and I want to thank everybody that has come on my panel. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. I'll give everybody their final thought. Oh, Wendy, you come up. Did you want to add anything? And I'll let you wrap up your final thought, and then I'm gonna let everybody else put in a final thought, and then I'm gonna shut it down.
Of course, the HR in me had to come up when the comment came up about military, and it's all about opportunities, right? Women are being given more and more opportunities to be able to show that they can compete for positions. I'm not. I don't compete with men. It's not in my nature. I'm not competing to be a man. I don't want to be a man. I'm a female. So I think the fact one of the comments was one of the responses to female military was for the standards for the females to be able to qualify. Okay, and I mean that didn't happen in all the fields. When you came to specialty fields, uh, uh, there was no reduction in standards because men men didn't want women in wars. They didn't want them at the front line. But when it was decided as a society that and not in these fields, there were no women sitting up there making decisions about which fields women could compete in. I think are, uh, men just in their field and uh, in certain jobs, and what they
they were raised to believe. And unfortunately, we're not in that society anymore, right? We want to make it even. Everybody's not, I don't think it's everybody's equal. Men and women are not equal. That's not an accurate statement. I think we can all move towards more equality and opportunities for everybody. I appreciate you allowing me into your live.
Really? It happens anytime. As long as you're respectful, anybody can come into the boxes. I don't have a set of people that come in. I've rotated my boxes out. Anybody can come up here as long as you're respectful. You come up here with that disrespectful shit. Hey, not you, Wendy, but anybody. You come in here with that disrespectful shit. I ain't even got to open my mouth. I have an entire line of people that get in your ass. Bye, young. You know you my boy. All right, CC.
So I'm gonna say my last comment and then I'm gonna get up out of here. I I really enjoyed the live. That's for one. We're gonna have to talk about this again on my live, and also bring about the fact that church also created these gender roles. It was taught that way for people in church. It was taught that way for people in religion. It was taught that way outside of church. There's a lot of different aspects that have created both this, masculine and feminine and how things are supposed to be and supposed to go. Um, and I appreciate the live today because it gives people an opportunity to see and understand how everyone thinks. Queen, I definitely will when we do it. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna coerce with Blue because we're gonna most likely do this together. She know how I am. I appreciate everyone's opinions, everyone's understanding, and you guys keep your heads up and do what you got to do. And I'm gonna get on off here. It's okay to be who you are, no matter what it is. You ain't got to define it. So I'm gonna get my butt off here. Y'all be easy.
Got my friend. I said, "What's up?"
I will.
Make sure I get
Okay.